Knowing how much to charge for your product or service is always a bit of a challenge, and getting the pricing model right makes your business either successful or a flop. So when we started Rupert, what did we know what to charge? Well, there's a look, there is. The honest answer is we didn't know what to charge. The first thing I did is I looked at what other platforms are charging in this space. Typically the social scheduling tools. So I sort of looked at all of them and went, right, where do we sit? Now, the problem you've got is even with social scheduling tools, you've got two ends of the spectrum. You've got those that are very cheap and just do a job. Like we use one called Post Planner and it works really well, but it doesn't cost me a lot of money. It's not enough for me to be even concerned about it. Flip side of that, you've got things like Sprout Social, you've got Hootsuite, which can get pretty expensive. Although we don't do what these platforms do, this is what the market are paying for these types of SaaS platforms in the marketing world. And then I also looked at in terms of what their pricing was, how they model it. So is it based on users? Is it based on connections? Is it based on posts? A lot of it's quite complicated, really. You know, you start signing up on one price and then suddenly before you know it, you're 10 grand in the hole. So I wanted something in the early stage which should be quite simple. Purely being quite candid is because from a cost perspective, development wise, to do some of the pricing models that other platforms have done can get really expensive to develop it. So to prove concept, I just did two, we still do two, £49 a month, which is like basic, one connection, up to 99 comments a month. So it sort of helps support, pretty much 60-65% of the market. We then do the 179 a month, which is for anything over that really. A rolling contract is typically to start with 3 or 6 months, and we also do discounts so they pay for the entire year up front, which has been actually the last few weeks actually brought in some really nice results as well, which is great. So that's how we priced it. I think we're too cheap still, but the problem is how much it's worth and how much someone's willing to buy it for. And I'm a big believer is just keep putting up the prices until you're at a conversion rate of 1 in 3. Then you've pretty much hit the sweet spot of where your pricing should be. And obviously that's not always the case, I know that. I'm helping an old friend of mine with his consultancy business at the moment, and he just keeps putting his prices up at the moment every 3 weeks. And thus far, he's still converted like 68%. Now, a lot of those are in the States. What I have noticed is that stateside brands, when they see our price and what we do, just say, absolutely, all over this. Yeah, that's how we did it. I'm still pondering if we're too cheap. Something I don't think a lot of people speak about. There is a balancing act between what you can charge and how profitable it can be for you as the brand. So at the moment, Rupert is a very profitable piece of kit for me internally. But as you scale, there'll be certain non-billable costs that come into the business, like management or your costs increasing for Stripe payments, business rates when we move into a bigger office. Like there's all these little non-billable invoices that start hitting your desk, which you can't pass on to the client. That is just the reality of growing and running a business. I believe Rupert's worth £1,000 a month for some brands. There's some brands that use us that get so many comments. 180 quid a month, 190 quid a month is cheap, right? But what we're doing is we're making sure that the brands are profitable as well. We want to help our clients become more profitable themselves. Not just because we're reducing headcount, because we're not, right? Rupert is not a tool to replace someone's job. Rupert as a tool is to enhance someone's role, those in marketing or typically social media. But we enhance it by one of two things. A, we reduce hate and we safeguard their brand. Secondly, we do it via notifications of sales opportunities. Brands using Rupert are typically receiving more revenue from social because they're able to see the opportunities live. So actually, as long as we can prove that we as a platform are increasing profits and revenue for a brand, we will never be turned off. So this brand here, the last 7 days, has had a total of 428 comments, of which 139 of those are sales opportunities. That's 32% of their comments. So for this brand here, he's on a free trial at the moment. Will Andrew turn me off in 15 days' time? Absolutely not. As long as you can showcase to your clients what you're doing and there's a commercial benefit to using you in terms of you're paying for yourself as a minimum, it'll be very hard for the brand to ever turn you off. And the pricing objective then, it goes out the window completely. Why, James, is your managed service more expensive than Rupert SaaS? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because they are. In all seriousness, there is a better reason than that. Very simply, there's boots on the ground, right? When you've got people doing the work, it's going to cost more money opposed to a system that just runs in the background. Rupert as a platform costs £189 a month. The managed service, which can go all the way up to £7,000, depending on how many comments you get, what we're doing for you in terms of that managed service side. So it really does vary in terms of costs. But that's the reason why. Staff cost money, offices cost money, national insurance, pension contribution. I could go on and on and on and on. We have also created a new service recently, and this one, if I'm honest, is the most exciting one at the moment, but I think that's probably best for another video because there's a lot going on with that new service, and we've already got 2 clients that are paying for it. We've got another load of proposals out which we've had some really good feedback from thus far. This one could be an absolute game changer for all of those brands that actually want to make money from social. We as a business are evolving. We're evolving every day. I think there's so much more we can do, but actually this one service that we're just bringing to market, we've just brought to market, the fact we've had 2 pitches and 2 conversions is actually really exciting, really exciting. This is a bit of a hard question to answer because it depends what you do. For example, if you do like a restaurant, your gross margin on a menu should be about 70%, but that's only gross, obviously that's not including labour. When it comes to service, so for example, if you're a solicitor, you should be working out how much you want your daily rate to be. If you want to earn as a business £500 a day, use that as an example, that's £2,500 a week, it's 10 grand a month. How many days is it going to take you to produce that work? Let's say it's 2 days. So on the face of it, that's £1,000. You should be charging £1,000. But that's not realistic because you've got office costs, employee costs, VAT costs, you've got all the costs associated to delivering that product. So it might be that you need to charge £2,000 because your margin is 50%. What you need to do is really work out what your margin is and what your cost is so that you can then price. I think what a lot of people do in an industry that's really bad for it is builders. So what builders will typically go is, right, what are my costs of goods and then what do I want to earn per day? Most builders will say, I want to earn about 150, 200 quid a day. Well, what about how much my van costs, how much my petrol costs to go to jobs? What about the days that I'm not working? So suddenly you're not earning 250 a day, you're only earning 175. So working out all those costs before you then price it and then figure out what you want your margin to be. Now, when it comes to software like we've got with Rupert, SaaS, it's very, very different because at the moment it's a bit of a, right, let's test it. We're going to charge this. If too many people say yes, you increase it. If too many people say no, is it a pricing issue or is it a product market fit? And that's the hardest bit to gauge. You can go to Harrods and buy a banana for 40 quid. I can go to Asda and buy a banana for 40p. I don't know where they both locate those bananas. I'm pretty certain they come from the same place, but it's wrapped in a Harrods nice little blanket in a bag. So you've also got those that want to be perceived value and go, well, I'm gonna be a Burberry coat, although it's made in the same shop as a super dry one in Italy or Turkey, but they're very different. Now, when it comes to sort of Rupert Connect, because the value we're offering, I want to be able to in the future go, well, look, we can do all this stuff for you, it's going to cost you this. And they'll go, oh, it's a bit expensive. I'm like, well, yeah, because we're the nuts, we're the best at this. You know, I've just quoted a campaign for 25 grand and they've said yes. Now, I'm waiting to be set up as a vendor, but they've agreed to it. They've said, send me your paperwork. We've got to deliver on it now, which is fine. So it's just that, where do you want to value yourself? And then when you look at sort of your business growth and profitability, making sure that A, are you profitable because you've got to be to grow, but in terms of that growth, how quickly can I grow? Can I sustain the growth? But also, can I grow at the speed I want to, charging this amount? Like a lot of freelancers get into this headache, they charge too little, and then what happens is they basically become an employee for themselves. They can't ever grow into an agency because the margins aren't there. If you price yourself too cheap, you'll know very quickly. But also, if too many people say no, you either have 2 options. You either go, I know this is right, I just need the right ICP, or my pricing's off, I need to readjust.